There's a small shrine near my grandmother's house, deep in the countryside, but I've never seen anyone ring the bell there.
Not even locals?
Nope. The path leading to it is worn from footsteps, but the area right under the bell is untouched, just moss.
Sounds like people are avoiding it on purpose.
They are. When I was a kid, my cousin told me, "Don't ring that bell, it's dangerous."
Why? What happens?
He said, "Some people who ring it don't come back." That's all he'd say. When we were 10, one of our friends rang it on a dare. The sound it made, it wasn't normal. It echoed weirdly, hollow, empty. Then he just turned around, didn't say a word, started walking into the forest behind the shrine. We called his name. He never looked back. The next morning, we found his shoes, placed neatly on top of the Tory gate. No footprints, no dirt, just the shoes.
Did anyone else see him?
Number. And a few days later, the shoes vanished too. But even now, people say they sometimes hear the bell at night, even though it's never moved since.
My grandma had a Japanese doll. It sat in a glass case in the tatami room. When I was a kid, I used to look at it all the time. It was beautiful. I really liked it. Straight black hair cut just to the shoulders. I remember everything. The face, the kimono, even how the bangs curved slightly. About 10 years later, I visited her house again. The doll was still there, same spot, same case. But the hair, it was longer, just a little, but clearly past the shoulders. No one else seemed to notice. But I know I'm not wrong. I used to stare at that thing for hours as a kid. I told my grandma. She just laughed and said, "You're imagining things." Since then, I haven't looked at the doll again. It creeps me out too much.
When I was a kid, I went bug hunting at night with a friend. There was a mountain behind a shrine near my town, said to be great for finding beetles. We had flashlights and walked deeper into the woods than usual. That's when the air suddenly changed. Everything felt too quiet. We saw a tree. On the trunk, a straw doll was nailed in with about 5 rusty nails. Wrapped around it was a strip of white paper. At first, I thought it was some prank, but my friend froze. His face turned pale, and then he bolted. No words, just ran. I hesitated for a second, but the air felt heavy, almost choking. So I ran after him. Neither of us said a word on the way home. Later that night, I asked him what it was. He said, "That was Ushi no Kokomari." It's an old curse ritual in Japan. You nail a straw doll to a sacred tree to curse someone. But if anyone sees you, the curse turns back on you, which means someone else might have been there that night. We've never gone near that shrine again. During a college retreat, we stayed at this old inn. In the corner of the ceiling in our room, there was this thin strip of paper stuck up there. It looked exactly like something used to seal away a curse. The writing was all smudged ink, and it felt kind of damp. My friend and I joked like, what if we peel this off and a ghost shows up? And then we peeled it off, laughing. That night, I woke up out of nowhere. Felt like someone was walking around inside the room, but I couldn't move. I just laid there with my eyes shut, frozen till morning. Next morning, one of the staff walked into our room, looked up at the ceiling, and just froze. Then he asked, "Did someone touch this?" We couldn't answer. We just stayed quiet. He didn't say another word, just walked out. Nobody from the inn came into our room again after that. Ever since we got back, weird stuff's been happening. My phone's camera turns on by itself in the middle of the night. Sometimes there's a shadow in the mirror. Sometimes I hear voices from the bathroom. Yesterday, I opened my mailbox. The same paper we peeled off was folded inside. No address, no name, nothing. Today, my friend said he got one too. Same envelope, same paper. I seriously don't know what we're supposed to do now.
My Shiba Inu's usually quiet. Even when someone comes to the door, he might bark once, maybe not at all. He's the calm type. But about a week ago, he started standing in front of the entrance every night at 10 p.m, barking like something was out there. At first, I thought someone was just passing by, but it happened the next night. And the one after that, same time, same spot. Eventually, I set up a security camera near the entrance. But nothing showed up. No people, no animals. Even the motion sensor lights didn't go off. Still, the barking was recorded, always at the exact same time. I kept telling myself it was nothing, but then something changed. We came back from our usual evening walk. As I went to take off his leash at the door, he suddenly froze. Then he started trembling. His tail dropped, his body low to the floor, and he just stared at the entrance, like something was there. He wouldn't move. I had to carry him inside. Since that day, he won't go near the door. At night, he stays in the farthest room from it. Lately, when it gets close to 10 p.m., he starts getting restless again, and I find myself looking at the front door too, even though I know there's supposed to be nothing there.
This happened in my second year of university in the fall. One Friday night, 3 of us decided to visit Aokigahara, the ghost forest, for a late-night dare. It was just a dumb idea. We were talking about urban legends, and one guy had a car. We got there around 1 a.m., left the car near the entrance, brought flashlights, and walked into the forest. It was dead silent, not even insects. At first, we joked around to hide the tension. Then, about 20 minutes in, the guy in front, Kenji, suddenly screamed. Just one loud scream, "Ooh-wah!" We turned around, and he was gone. It was like he vanished. We panicked, called his name, searched the area with our flashlights. Nothing. No sound, no movement. We ran back to the car and called the police. They searched that night and the next day. No footprints, no signs, nothing. Monday morning, Kenji was just there, sitting in class like nothing had happened. Same clothes, no dirt, no injuries. I asked him, "You okay?" And he just looked confused. "Huh? What do you mean?" He didn't remember anything. When we mentioned the forest, he said, "I've never been there." He used to be loud and cheerful, always cracking jokes. Now he barely talks. Doesn't look people in the eye. It's like he's muted. Honestly, the rest of us keep our distance now. I don't know if that's really Kenji, and I'm not sure I want to find out. The first call came at 1:30 a.m. unknown number. I ignored it. I was half asleep. The next night, it rang again. Same number. 1:35 a.m., then 1:40, then 1:45. Every night, 5 minutes later. I didn't answer at first, but on the 5th night I picked up. No one spoke. Just a faint sound, like static, TV snow, somewhere in the background. I hung up. Since then, blocking the number doesn't help. The calls keep coming, from different numbers, but always at the exact time. Tonight, it rang at 1:55 a.m., which means tomorrow. 2 a.m. Ushimitsudoki. Yesterday, I went to a haunted spot deep in the mountains of Kyoto. It's not a well-known place, but locals say there used to be a shrine there. Now only the Torii Gate remains, standing alone in the woods. There were broken stone steps and collapsed lanterns, but nothing actually happened while I was there. It didn't feel scary or creepy, though I do remember how unnaturally quiet it was. No wind at all. I took a few photos with my phone, just in case. Mostly trees, old steps, places that looked kind of spooky. At the time, I didn't notice anything strange. Then tonight, after I got home, I was scrolling through my photo folder. Among the normal shots, there was one photo that was completely black. Not blurry, not noisy, just pitch black, like there was nothing there at all. The time and location matched the rest of the photos. But all the others looked fine. Only that one was completely different. I started to get a weird feeling, so I called the friend who went with me. But he didn't answer. The call went through, but he just didn't pick up. I sent him a chat message, too. He read it, but he hasn't replied. Now I'm home alone. Can I delete that photo?
3 of us, friends from my hometown, went to check out this abandoned building. It used to be some kind of company dorm. People say it's haunted. It was around midnight. We brought flashlights and went in. Everything was wrecked. Broken windows, graffiti everywhere. While we were walking on the 3rd floor, we suddenly heard footsteps, like full-on sprinting. Heavy, fast footsteps coming from behind us. We panicked. Me and one of the guys ran. We thought maybe the police showed up. We'd been warned before about trespassing. We found a back door and got outside. But there was nothing. No lights, no sirens, just silence. No one was there.
So, where was your other friend?
That's when we realized he wasn't with us. We were too busy running to notice. We freaked out, talked about going back in, but honestly, we were too scared. So we waited in the car. Called him, sent messages over and over. No reply, no read receipts either.
Did he ever come back?
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes later, he walked up to the car like nothing happened. He looked annoyed. Said, "Why did you guys ditch me?" Said he'd been calling for us. We told him we'd called and messaged him a ton. Showed him our phones. But when he checked his, there was nothing. No missed calls, no messages. Like it all just didn't happen. His signal was fine. So now we're wondering, who the hell were we calling that whole time?
A friend of mine moved into this ridiculously cheap apartment. He said the rent was low because something happened there in the past. He laughed it off, saying, "No ghosts or anything. I'm fine." At first, everything seemed normal, but after about a month, he started looking worse every time I saw him. Dark circles under his eyes kept getting deeper. When I asked, he said, "I don't know, I just feel like I'm being watched all the time. It's hard to sleep." But nothing really happened in the room. No noises, no things moving on their own, none of that. Still, something was clearly affecting his body. He muttered one day, "This place just feels wrong." I got worried, so I stayed over one weekend. We had dinner, talked, laid out our futons, and went to sleep. Nothing happened. Honestly, I started to think he was just overthinking it. But around 3 a.m., I woke up. I heard soft sobbing next to me. I turned on the light, and there he was, curled up in his blanket, quietly crying. I shook his shoulder and asked if he was okay. He looked at me, confused, and said, "What?" I was asleep. He had no idea he'd been crying. There were no ghosts, no curses, just something in that room that slowly, quietly broke him down. He moved out the following week. Said just thinking about the place made him feel sick.